This actual play is intended for mature audiences and contains themes some viewers may find upsetting. Please check each episode's show notes for specific content warnings and enjoy the show with care. The old fire.
Narrate a flashback to your time on the run with the person you saved. What skills kept you both alive, and what did you learn about each other while slipping from shadow to shadow? Her name is Rhea. Beyond that, Fenwyn didn't know a great deal about her. The only thing that was for sure abundantly clear was that they needed each other to keep going. And they needed each other to stay alive. She is the picture of serenity, poise, and stillness. More so than Fenwyn, especially in this moment. She stands waist deep in a pool of water, the bottom of a waterfall. She has her right arm poised. She holds a barbed spear, and she slowly, purposefully makes her way through the water, stalking the silver flashes beneath the surface. When she strikes, it's surgical, it's clean, and it's quick. There's barely any splash as the spear enters the water, pulls back out a fish that doesn't have to wriggle much, drops in a basket that's floating behind her, tethered to her waist. She's the picture of stillness, and she can't hear the danger coming from behind as a horrifying amalgamation of fur, flesh, bone, and wing, some remnant reanimated by the power of the dimning, comes shambling down the hill towards the pool. Fenwyn is running. He doesn't know how he could have been so stupid to leave her on her own. He's clasping handfuls of herbs that are going to be ground into poultices and tinctures, but he's dropping them now. It doesn't matter. He knows what's coming because he can hear it. And when he does eventually reach the pool and the waterfall, Rhea is stood fixing him with a dumb look, and at his feet is the body of a shambling amalgamation of fur and wing and beak, maw, dead, struck down with her spear, and he knows it didn't struggle. But that doesn't stop him from running, because she cannot hear it. He almost runs along the surface of this pool, feet not breaking the water, till he dives, grabs her, and pulls her under. And we see from below him holding her in his arms as the sky above the water blackens as the dimning closed in. She couldn't hear it. He wasn't fast enough. They need each other. to get out of this.
Start of session. You currently have 3 active mysteries, and let's just check in on them briefly. So the Whitewood, you have 3 clues on your complexity 6 question of what does the Silvercut Company need from the undead to keep the restless Lumen Prince asleep? On the Branch Torn Knight, you have 4 clues on your question, how can you prove yourself worthy to the Branch Torn Knight? That's a complexity 6. And the Umber Slade, you have 1 clue on your question, what lost oath keeps the shepherds tethered to the Umber Slade? As for the Lord question, you are up to 5 clues. That's pretty good. Getting very, very close to being able to answer that question, which is basically, where is this lost Fey city so that we can find Noxiliacs? Or how can the spell that hides Lyrillin be lifted? That's the exact question. I do want to check in on the characters really quickly. I'm going to go in reverse order. Fenwyn, you are really quite changed from when we last saw you. Apart from the fact that you have done battle with this like alien cosmic horror bug monstrosity and in her lair, and you're blind as well, and you've also marked the most cinders at this point, as well as the most fires. You've stoked the fire the most. So, I mean, we are getting Fenwyn's story here, and, I'm starting to question, like, I don't know, I feel like Fenwyn, you're getting pretty close to, like, I don't know, maybe Noxiliacs might be the last stand for Fenwyn. I don't know. We'll see. Did you take an advancement last time?
I did. My reason went up by 1.
Fantastic. Thank you. And did you have any scenes or moves you want to get done today?
So I want to head back to the lands remaining. Obviously, I'm still on Elegy.
Right.
And I think I would like to head over towards the Branch Torn Knight. And I would really like to, because I think it's very interesting, and I said it a few sessions ago, for Fenwyn to get some sense of what Calyxe does with her friends in the woods, which is now extra interesting because I can't actually see it. I can just sort of try and figure out what's going on there. I think that'd be really interesting.
That would depend quite a lot on which journey you end up taking, which capital J journey we go on. Because Sister Isha is at the ruins of Castle Bregan, right? You could go talk to Fen the Gravedigger on Elegy, actually. That's an option, I suppose. This is all assuming Jess doesn't mind you messing with the oracles.
I never said mess. I just said visit. I said, take him a bunch of grapes and some flowers and just kind of... But like, where's Denebray? Where's Sir Denebray?
The Three Faces is where Sir Denebray is. So as a player, you get to choose which of the journeys you want to do. The Pale Crossing journey is already done, but you're on Elegy, and that's where Fen the Gravedigger is. So that's great. As long as Justin doesn't have an issue with that, we can make that scene happen, because you are going to have to take a journey to get to the Branch Torn Knight. Calyxe of the Verdant Crucible. Speaking of, you are marked by the Man in the Lake, although that might actually clear because you've kind of dealt with it. You saw that it was some kind of glamour, and I'm not sure how relevant that is anymore. And your Herald of the Speaking Root as well. Did you have any scenes, or actually did you advance last time by chance?
I did advance, and I unmarked all my aspects.
Oh, that's a big advancement. Fantastic. Did you have any scenes or moves you want to do?
I would love to visit Sir Denebray before. I think I'm going to try and leave the Branch Torn Knight, and I will journey either towards the Whitewood.
Okay.
I think I would. Yes, I think journeying back towards the Whitewood. I think we can solve that today. And whoever's there, I don't want them to solve it alone.
Okay, so it looks like you might cross paths with Fenwyn then at some point. So you can still do the Sir Denebray thing separately. That's not a big deal, but
no problem.
Interesting. Okay. Theia the Waxing Tone, we know that you just left the lodge and are heading toward Gilvin the Vine-Twined. you have the conditions restrained. I feel like that cleared. You can clear that. I don't think that applies anymore.
Great.
And in the quotes, I still have hope. You can hold on to that one yet. I'm assuming you did not advance last time because you have 5 XP.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. We know that you'd expressed an interest off mic to go to Gilvin the Vine Twined. That's a great idea. It's been kind of waiting for you.
I know he's been waiting.
That sounds great. You will have to take a journey to do that. Now,
Okay.
I actually kind of like the idea of all of you meeting up at Three Faces because it sounds like that's where we're kind of convening. There's also a tactical reason to do that, which is if you take a separate journey, like if you go by way of Castle Bragan, for example, or you choose a new journey location, that would be 2 journey boxes marked, and that would conclude the countdown on Whitewood, and it would push 2 boxes onto Branch Torn Night. So you're already going to get 1 with the Three Faces journey. So if you all meet up there and take that journey, I think that might be the best move. But I'll let you decide when the time comes. Did you have any other scenes or things you want to do? You're going to be busy for a bit with Gilvin the Vine Twined.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to take a bit of time.
Yeah. All right. Then let's check in with Ash. Marked by the Black Cortege, addicted to white sap, and Ash has had their ember dimmed by Scrutineer Cairo. Scrutineer Cairo is about to show you something that he thinks you'll find very interesting. But beyond that, what did you have planned for today?
Surviving.
Fair enough.
Everyone's left me.
Indeed they have. Fantastic. Okay. You can mark new end of session questions if you wish. The only start of session move we have is the Theia's move. I'm trying to commit the names of these moves to memory. So in service of the Wolf King, it is the same task, which it sounds like you're going to get done today, Theia. And we still have 3 active mysteries, so there's no worries there. So let's just start, if there's no other questions. Theia, leaving the lodge is as simple as just willing yourself away as soon as you get to the steps, and then you find yourselves among the Whitewoods. Is it fair to suggest that as you travel through the lands, even though we don't see it on screen, are you regularly singing songs and reciting verse, just as a way of entertaining yourself?
Definitely, yes.
Okay. Then I think you'll be aware as you're leaving the Whitewood, as you're kind of making your way, you'll be aware of someone following you. They're not making a lot of effort to hide their presence. You hear footsteps crunching on the ground. You can hear breathing, quite labored breathing, I would say. What do you do?
I think she calls out. It's always a delight to have an audience, although more so if they applaud.
You have not met her yet, but Rhaenya, the dying Luminarian, steps into the clearing where you're at. You've just seen a bunch of Luminarians, and they have very vivid cobalt skin and blazing white hair. But Rhaenya looks very dimmed indeed. Her color is now gone to more of like a slate blue, I would say, and her white hair has started to thin and dull. She's dressed like a hunter or a trapper. That's what she was. And she looms very tall over you. Not as tall as some of the Luminarians you met in the lodge, but quite tall still, even in her diminished state. She says, I heard you singing. I heard you singing of the blue moon that you call El Sain. Tell me, what do you think of the blue and the red moon? What is the story that you and your people tell of them?
They are the watchful eyes of the Wolf King himself. When the blue moon came into being in the sky, however that may have been, it was a sign that the Wolf King's return would be upon us soon. And I, it seems, am what is left to make that happen. I'm given to understand your people have some different ideas.
Somewhat, yes. We tell a story of a Fey king who once romanced a nature spirit. Unwilling to settle down and become his consort, the king absconded with her womb and their unborn child within, hanging it in the skies out of reach to taunt her, and that this is the blue moon, this is how the blue moon was born. That is where our lumen prince is.
Yes, I gather. A little silly, don't you think? The moon is a man.
I don't know what to think. I just know the stories, and I know we are here because our seers and prophets and elders believe that the lumen prince is going to wake soon, and that will be the end of us. Though I don't think I'm going to make it even that long.
Sweet thing, I hear you've been cast out.
Yes. I stayed here for a time thinking that they might find pity and let me back, but I don't think they are. I heard their ecstatic howls last night.
Pity does not seem to be in their oeuvre.
Certainly they have forgotten about me.
It's a terrible thing to be forgotten.
Perhaps I could travel with you.
If you so choose, I am leaving this place.
Yes. I have seen quite enough of white trees.
Well, I'm off to set fire to a tree, if that interests you.
A slight smile appears along her lupine face, and she says, yes, I'm quite tired of trees in general.
Then join me, little wolf.
She is amused by being called Little Wolf, given your relative sizes, and she joins you. Fenwyn, you make your way back to the lands remaining across Pale Crossing. It's not a journey scene, but as ever, the fog-shrouded sea is perfectly still so long as the Pale Crossing is on it. And at some point, the fog clears and you actually find yourself on the lands. You find yourself going up a river, an incredibly calm river that looks more just like a long snake-like lake because the waters do not move. And eventually, the boatman will deposit you, and we'll pick up with you in a bit. Let's check in with Calyxe. Calyxe, you've just had this strange encounter in this lake near Castle Brynwild. And funnily enough, it was fully daylight when you saw this entity floating down below, this entity wreathed in flowers, who spoke to you, who called themselves a representative of the Coven of the Courteous, and that you passed some sort of test. And by the time you even sort of snap out of it, it's nighttime. Who knows how long you've been standing there, waded out in the middle of this lake. But the party is still going in Castle Brynwild. You can hear cheering and celebration. You can see torches and lanterns lit. This is a very unusual thing in the lands remaining in the time of the Dimning. This sort of gaiety. What do you do?
I think through whatever bond Calyxe has formed to Ash, in her head she sees the dimning skies, the black that crawls across it that has come too quickly, and something in her flickers and dims itself, and something is wrong. Something is deeply wrong with Ash. And there is something in her that must tend to that. And she removes herself from the lake. She will find Sir Denebray, get from him what she needs, and then head back to the Whitewood towards Ash. That is her course. She cares not for this gaiety. She cares not for the cries and the laughter. She knows what she must do. She has purpose, and she is going.
As you are leaving Lord Brynwild's lands, you come upon, quite suddenly, a man tall as an oak tree with verdant skin. Tree bark, moss, and vines grow over a vaguely masculine form in the mockery of a knight's armor. Branches of holly and oak protrude from his chest like a rib cage cracked open from the inside, and nestled within is a fossilized heart no longer beating. And you can see even now where he steps, saplings and spring green clover sprout. And he's holding, rested on his shoulder, a giant axe, grown rather than made, with a blade black as winter night. This is the night move to even encounter this individual. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
I'm afraid they will find this entire journey, Calyxe's entire being, unworthy, and will strike them down so that they will not continue.
It is worse than that. I think even if that doesn't happen, I think you will be further judged by the spirits of the forest, by whatever magisterial conclave sits in judgment of you. If you wish to continue interacting with this person, you're going to roll with Cinder, and I think you're going to roll it at disadvantage as well, because of Herald of the Speaking Root. This is a challenge to your beliefs and your ways and your purpose. If you want to turn away and not interact with this person, you don't have to roll dice.
She's not a coward. She's not a coward. I'm going to mark. I'm going to use the life force of the first Crux Druid, Harrow the Martyr Catcher, the one who was purest in purpose and most worthy to me and to my honor, as a Crux Druid, to negate the disadvantage. I'm
going to suggest you don't have access to that right now, because you put Harrow's spirit in a crystalline. Or was that my other game? Hold on.
No, I did. Yes,
you did do
I
this.
did.
Yes, yeah, you did do this. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, he was not unmarked. Okay. Oh no. Oh God. Okay. She thinks back to the lake, where she was born of the strength of the birth of a mountain. She overcame a part of her past that had haunted her so. She will use that same strength now, as it was unmarked by my advancement.
I like it.
Okay.
2d6, and then what's your Cinder? Minus 1?
Minus 1. So that's an 8. Oh.
You came here to play my game. But now you leave?
Your game. Oh, branch-torn knight. There is more than one way to be worthy. I am attempting to find that root. I do not believe it is brute force that will make me worthy in your eyes. Crux Druids, 1,000 over, have faced you. I know their stories and I know them well. And I know the only one that I have heard of that has been worthy in your eyes was a nameless knight. It is a nameless knight that I go to find now. I think he may be worthy. Would you stand in my way for such an ask?
You speak of olden days. You speak of a time when those of your order met me in honor and faith. And yet, you misunderstand them entirely. You misunderstand your purpose and your rights. You have lost something in this darkened world.
Then let me find it.
You do not even know the meaning of the Verdant Crucible.
I gave everything I was to the Crucible. The Crucible took from me everything it could.
And I think he turns his back on you. And he proceeds back into the forest, closer back to the lands of Lord Brynwild. You might even see a knight in the distance coming to challenge him. He's going off to do his job. But as he leaves, he says,
Your embrace of iron is an affront.
and just keeps going. Please mark stigma.
Oh!
That's the only complication, though. You're otherwise fine.
Yep. I realized yep. Oh, damn.
Ash. Scrutineer Cairo leads you down a corridor, which, based off what you know of this structure, none of this stuff should exist. It's all in kind of weird time space or weird dimensional space. Nevertheless, he leads you into a hall. This hall is quite striking. There are thousands of small metallic bugs on the walls and ceilings. Their glowing abdomens and skittering are choreographed to mirror the ever-shifting constellations of the heavens outside, which you can now see through a sort of translucent ceiling. Circular silver frames of varying size and ornateness are stationed around the entire room. One frame in particular stands largest and most prominent of all, protected by a pair of heavily armed Luminian guards. And there's a runic inscription above, but it's in Luminian. He says, "Well, tell me, what do you think?"
Ash looks to the gods, firstly, to the style of weapon they hold,
Halberds.
and then to scrutiny Cairo. I think your entire building is made of weird geometry. I think I know someone who would appreciate this more than me.
And yet it is you to whom I am showing it. Do you know what this is?
No, but I'm sure you're willing to tell me.
What are you doing? He's giving you free rein to roam around.
The frame that's being guarded, I think Ash is trying to look and inspect what they're so guarding.
Make the information move with composure.
With composure. Finally. A 7.
Very good. You glimpse ever so briefly in this mirror glass, ever so briefly, you glimpse the lumen prints. I won't describe it for you now. That's something Ash will know for themselves. And Scrutineer Cairo looms over you and says, "This place, this is the Hall of Gates. We use this place to travel the cosmos, many planets and dimensions at our disposal. And yet, we cannot run away from the moons. If the Lumen Prince awakens, the red and blue moon will collide. And no matter where we are, no matter the planet, no matter the court, no matter the very dimension we might be swimming in, every Luminian will be destroyed. Because this is where we were made."
Ash looks quite intently at Scrutineer Cairo and then has the urge to look back at the Lumen Prince, but does not. So, as long as I can help you with your Lumen Prince, then your people will be safe.
"That is correct, Nameless. We will be saved. We only know that our ancient forebears created the whitewood trees in order to create the undead. We believe this was in anticipation of this particular event, and so I do my experiments in order to understand how the undead might be able to help us. Put the Lumen Prince back to restful slumber. But I fear we do not have much time. And at this point, he kind of turns to you, and this is your complication. I haven't given you the clue yet. He turns to you and says, "Are you a friend of the Luminian people?"
I am a friend of those who would not steal from me. Return what you've taken, and we can be friends.
He will do so. He'll hold out his hand, and that little jar will float to it. And he will remove the fire from it, and he will place it back inside your chest. You can clear the condition, the Demmed Ember, but you must take the condition, Friend of the Luminians.
I felt it coming.
You played it well. And I'll give you a clue in a moment. I think at this point we need to start moving toward this journey. And it sounds like we're doing the three faces. Theia, have you decided whether you're going to go by way of the three faces, or you're going to go Castle Bragan, or some other way?
I think I'll go by the three faces. I don't want to screw the poor Ash up there too badly.
Don't launch me into the apocalypse.
Maybe not today, maybe later.
Indeed. Fenwyn, this entity that is deep below the earth on Elegy, who you did battle with, showed you the sacred ritualistic geometry of the Great Forest that only the insects and other beings with enhanced senses would be able to understand. You understand it, you can see it. How do you use that knowledge of that geometry to actually navigate in the Great Forest?
Fenwyn is adept at slipping into the spaces between, and he, having been shown this by the Queen, instinctively knows every fold in the forest. They are folds through time and space. And whilst he is someone who trusts the real, he also trusts the magic of it. He trusts that when he takes a step where there shouldn't be ground beneath him, that he will end up where he's trying to go. He knows this place can't be mapped. He knows it can't be charted. And he knows that he is only one of very few beings in this place who can use it to his advantage.
Theia, in your travels, your travels with Ryania take you to the actual, sort of the outer edge of the Great Forest at one point. And you come across a very rare thing in the time of the Dimning, which is a settlement of people with huts and lean-tos and shacks. They're not undead. They're actual people. And it's late at night, and Red Regar is prominent in the sky. And you see these people, they're coming out of their huts and shacks, and they're kind of gathering in this little tiny, I guess it's like a little square, or the little kind of central area of their community. They're gathering there, and they're rolling out bedrolls, and it's about maybe a couple dozen people, and they're tucking in for the night outside of their homes. You can even hear them saying, good night, good night, good night to you, when you and Ryania approach. What do you do?
I think she kind of places a hand on Ryania and kind of just to stop her. It says, the sight of you might be a little alarming, my lamb. Perhaps hold on. And she'll kind of forge ahead and make herself known. This is too interesting to ignore.
Some of them will kind of raise up and see you, and they'll say, oh, a traveler. Well, you're welcome to find a patch of earth to sleep on.
Well, thank you. You sleep under Redregar's light?
And they'll kind of look at each other. Redregar. Do you mean the moon?
I do.
No, that's it's lovely, I suppose, but no, that's not why we sleep out here. We sleep out here because, well, it's safer. It's safer to sleep under the worm's green gaze.
The worm.
The Emerald Nightmare, the great dragon that rules these lands. He sees all, and it is a great offense to sleep, to hide in buildings where he cannot see.
Is it so?
It is so.
And why might that be?
And they say, we just know what the knights tell us. They say we must sleep in the open, under the dragon's gaze. It would be a blessing if the dragon were to take flight, perhaps for the first time in centuries, to fly over us and look down upon us.
And so you sleep out here and wait of that day?
Yes, yes, we do.
I've heard the dragon has been hidden away for so long. What makes you think it will emerge now?
And I think one of them will point up to the sky at your red moon, which has a distinctly green cast to it right now. That is why we know the dragon is near.
There's something wrong with the red moon now. Of course there is. Wonderful.
Let's make this a light move. What are you afraid is going to happen right now if you lose your nerve?
I think she's gonna panic.
Fantastic. Go ahead and roll with composure.
Okay. Composure. Oh, composure's good. Thank you, Alsain. Oh, 12.
Nice. Could give you a little bonus here. I think weirdly, as a bonus, I'm going to let you clear I still have hope. If you want to, it's optional. My justification for that is I think the sight of the green moon while you're keeping it together does not give you hope.
Nope. No, it sure doesn't.
Give me the scene otherwise. What do you do?
I think that Theia's is temporarily struck dumb just by the sight of this. Surely not one more thing can go wrong with these moons. And I think she will actually, as much as she manages to keep it together, she calls out to Rhaenya. And she doesn't even say anything, she just points. Is this to do with your people's Lumen Prince story?
Rhaenya looks up and says, I do not know, but it certainly seems an ill-omened, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, it seems very ill.
I think we'll end the scene there. Calyxe, you will encounter the Scale-Blessed Pilgrim once again in your travels. It's nighttime. He's walking alongside you, whether you want him to be or not. His body covered in the green scale tattoos, his feet bare. He says, have you had a chance to think about what we discussed? Have you perhaps started to see the error of your ways? I don't want you to think that my query is coming from nowhere. You seem shaken. Shaken in your beliefs, perhaps?
I cannot lie. Words are echoing in my head that I have not thought on for millennia, it feels. Priorities that I once held so high in regard no longer have the same meaning. I feel myself changed, but I cannot pinpoint what it is that has shifted to erupt such a change. You would call me a dying ember. but I feel alive. More so now than I ever really have. Can you explain that?
We embers, both green and false, we bear a heavy burden. We have been reborn into a world that is so different from the one we knew, and our memory betrays us. Our memory is a traitor. We think we recall the songs and stories, the philosophies, the beliefs, the gods, but everything we think we recall is put through the filter of the dimning. And so we misremember. But I am blessed because the green fire has brought clarity to me. And I think perhaps the green fire will bring clarity to you as well. That is what you are feeling. You are feeling the mists of doubt being melted away.
Oh, Green Ember, thank you. Thank you. It is so clear now. It is so clear. Maybe this green fire will show me the way. But maybe the trees will show you yours. I promise you this, pilgrim. I will see you again. I will. And you will tell me truth then.
And he shuffles off, leaving you to it, leaving you to your blindness and your madness. Let's paint the scene for the Hall of Gates, where Ash is looking around, chatting with Scrutineer Cairo. The Luminians use these gates to traverse the cosmos, as Scrutineer Cairo has explained. What signs of their travels do we notice at other gates? And what about those details makes us believe the other realms are vastly different from this one?
Through the fractal mirage of the gate, we see a scene that is almost similar to the feasting hall that Theia was in before. But upon the walls, instead of the heads of great animals that we would recognize, are the heads of things much larger. Too many maws. Many a mandible. It does not look like bone, but something black and shiny like obsidian. Whatever these things are made of are clearly much, much more dangerous than what can be found here in the lands remaining.
Through another window, we see a group of what looks like humans. They gather around a circular table to something on the center, and through it you hear something or someone small, tinny. It sings without word, without throat, but it sings, and they watch and they reach and they echo towards it. They repeat the singing that comes through. And from this small little device, reams of black ribbon begin to spiral out and reach for them. It caresses their hands that reach forward and pull them in. They will join the voice, by will or not.
One gate seems to be little more than a void. Nothing to see, nothing to hear, nothing to smell or taste. But as Ash examines it, he might get the sense that that's simply because He does not have the appropriate anatomy or brain to be able to perceive what lies within.
Through another gate is just sound and color. Nothing is perceivable from this side of the threshold. It's beguiling the way it dances and shifts, but no mortal can make sense, form, or shape of it. It's inexplicable, and it's beautiful. And if you step across the threshold, you become one with it.
Ash, you're looking at all these things as you chat with Scrutineer Cairo, and you find your clue as well. You'll notice, I think maybe I'd like to suggest that you regularly look back at the gate where the Lumen Prince is, the one that's guarded, the one that has the inscription that you cannot read above it. And at the base, you'll notice that piled up in great heaping handfuls are wilting red moon blossoms. I see your eye is drawn to the red moon blossoms that we lay at the gate, at the feet of our Lumen Prince. They say these blossoms grow on the surface of the red moon. This is why the moon is red. In truth, I cannot remember, or perhaps I never knew, why it is our custom to put these blossoms here. But we do. Your clue is the red moon blossoms, the wilted red moon blossoms.
Ash looks to the blossoms. So, you travel from place to place. Planets, you said.
Other dimensions, other planets, some even other times.
And in all those times, you can find no aid beyond what's here.
We always return here in matters of prophecy. Because despite our great achievements in technology, despite all our talents and powers, we are creatures of history and prophecy. We believe in this prophecy that spells our doom, but we believe also that we can turn it back. And who needs help from other planets and dimensions when we have you, friend of the Luminians?
I do believe that aid is often necessary. Trying to do things on your own won't get you far. Have you told the people down there that you need their help? Because they seem to be under the impression that you're attacking them.
What a curious approach this would be, to actually speak with them. My. It is dangerous, though. We cannot spend much time down there now. Look at poor Rhaenia. I gather you have met her?
I have. She said you cast her out.
Yes. The poor thing. She will be dead very soon. Mere decades, I expect.
Decades? That's a long time.
I suppose it depends on how you measure time.
in the linear fashion.
Of course you do. Come, friend of the Luminians, we have work to do.
I suppose.
Fenwyn, as you're journeying through the Great Forest, at some point in the day, you will hear, "What is that my lion's senses detect? A person approaching. Yes, yes. Tell me, are you friend or are you foe?"
Is that you, Knight of the Lion?
It is I, Sir Denebray, standing watch on this section of the Great Forest.
I regret to inform you I can't look upon your splendor, but I believe this section of the wood is protected. But what brings you out here? Is this not far from the old capital?
Ah, I see you now. It is the man who bested me in single combat. Yes, yes. I was just, you can't see anything, you say?
Not for some time now. And what I have seen, I wish I hadn't.
Well, I was just, sort of hanging around, and I grew rather fond of the place, and, just sort of making it my home until I set back out on my journey, seeking the throne of the Hidden King.
Your voice sounds strained, Sir Tenebrae.
I recently finished hauling some logs and boulders. That is why I sound tired and in pain. I think I pulled something.
Anything I can assist with? I may look like I'm a sense down, but I make up for it in other ways.
Do you happen to have any water on you by chance?
And I think Fenwyn has a skin somewhere.
Normally I would have my squire fetch water for me, but I am down a squire, which of course is no commentary on how I view you. You are simply a friend offering me water. Yes.
Fenwyn moves in the direction of Sir Denebray, and I think that is when he starts to kind of realize what's happening. I think he can smell the
blood,
festering wounds, and the blood.
But my hands are rather busy right now. Perhaps you could lift it to my lips.
And Fenwyn does, rather inaccurately, I would say.
Thank you, Fenwyn, who moves like ink and who bears water. That is very welcome indeed.
Tell me, have you seen the remnants of my company?
I have seen one.
I think Fenwyn starts to add 2 and 2 and come to an answer he doesn't particularly like. And he steps back and says, "Do you suffer, knight?"
No. No, I do not. Though my trials are many, though my pains are great, I am still of the Lion Guard. I have my pride. I have my strength. The old fire burns bright in me.
Don't let that pride snuff that old fire out, Sedenabre. There is honor in a quick extinguishment.
He says, "Listen to me, Fenwyn. The witch Calyxe is not to be trusted. But I know something she does not.
Go on.
For you see, the trees of late have spoken to me too. And the trees very much mislike her actions, her blasphemies. Even now they gather to ponder what might be done about her. Don't tell her. I want it to be a surprise when it happens."
Your secret is safe with me, sir.
Calyxe marks stigma. Eventually, you will all meet at the Three Faces. I don't know who arrives first. Sounds like it's maybe Fenwyn. But eventually, you'll all get there. Ryanya is there too. And I will say that Ryanya has been very visibly, clearly weak on the journey. But upon seeing the Three Faces, is invigorated by it. You all have the option of making camp. This is a safe place to make camp if you would like. It does force Ash to make camp inside the Silvercut Lodge, but that could be fun. As a group, you need to decide if you're making camp.
It seems like a nice place. What's the problem?
It's nice.
I suppose it's on Ash. Ash, how are you feeling?
Ash has
It's
3
fine.
conditions.
It's fine. No, go ahead. Please do.
I feel that Ash will lose a condition, then just gain one straight back.
I would suggest we don't, but
No,
I
make the
will-
camp. Make the camp.
okay, fine.
Go
Then
ahead.
let us make the camp.
Yeah.
Indeed. I'll remind you that in order to get the benefits of it, you have to tell a pleasant story about the time of the old fire, or from the time of the old fire, or engage in your ritual. We're also going to do the journey prompt here in a moment for this journey, but I do want to start with this make camp scene, though. Yeah, the scene is yours. Just I'll interject with the mechanics as needed.
I think Fenwyn is perched on top of the Three Faces, and he is loosely holding the harpoon, which he has been tapping on the stone to try and locate the sounds of misery that follow Calyxe and the lilting song that follows Theia. What noise he can hear following Ash is indeterminate, but it's very strange, like radio static just coming through. And he hears someone approach. Who is it?
I think you'll hear 2 sets of footsteps as Theia and Ryanya get close. And stealth isn't really Theia's forte or interest, so you'll probably hear quite clearly as she says, "No, don't worry about him. Are you wearing still the lion cloth?" I think you'll hear Theia call up quite clearly, Fenwyn. "What strange training activity is this, Mouse?"
Just being ever watchful, ever vigilant. You never know who you're going to run into in the Great Forest.
Watchful with the eyes covered. Anyone on me?
I'm afraid you may find me changed, minstrel.
You seem the same to me. Odd and hiding.
I dare not disappoint on both fronts.
Come down from your tower and meet my new friend.
And he does extraordinarily elegantly.
You can't see Ryanya, but I think you will have a sense of her tallness, her height.
Seems you've been in some strange places.
Have not we all? This sweet lost lamb has been cast out by her people. I didn't feel it right to leave her all alone in such a dangerous world as this.
I think at that point, Calyxe almost emerges from behind the three faces and walks towards the group, somberly. I see we are still missing one of the little troop that we have formed. And the silence speaks for itself.
Ryanya says quietly to you, Theia, "I recognize that one from some time ago in the White Wood."
Ah.
There is one that curses her name still in the White Wood.
Indeed. I thought at first her bark was worse than her bite, but I'm beginning to believe that is not the case.
She has an ill-favored look. She is your companion?
She is often nearby.
Whereas you two, I can gather, have been very close together. The way you hold yourselves, like two silver birches leaning into one another. Intimacy. Fascinating. Truly.
Well, we don't all eat our mates after the act.
There was once a crux druid who did just that, you know. Ironically, her name was Mantis. She took a lover from a different tribe beyond the Crucible. It was meant to be a binding, meant to be a growth. And then, the morning after the binding ritual, she was found elbow deep in his insides. Not in the way that I imagine, well, you two might have been, but the bloodier kind. Her maw dripped with his blood, his guts, his viscera, sinew, muscles, bone, marrow. Eaten him from the inside out. It showed the strength of the Crucible then. The women of the Crucible are the most fearsome of the species. They are the strongest. They are the most resolute. They are the ones with the most purpose. They are the ones who will not be stopped, regardless of what anyone else says.
I must warn you, if we are going to engage in a sexual feast here under the light of the red moon, even in my weakened state, I would break you.
Now that I would like to see.
I like your friend, Wolf.
Hopefully not too much. Which?
I've eaten today. Don't worry.
Let us go to the story of the Three Faces. So I'll remind you that the Three Faces is this towering landmark, this titanic pillar carved from strange inky black stone depicting three faces, one pointing east, one pointing west, and one pointing south. It is one of the world's great mysteries. It was a great mystery even in the time of the Old Fire. It's been here for thousands of years. No one really knows what it is. You recall rumors and stories about why there isn't a fourth face turned north. Describe one.
Long ago, when this place was even more of a primordial soup, a ever-shifting continent of peoples and powers, there was a great ruler who began work erecting the four faces, one each to represent his children, who he dispatched to rule over the cardinal points of this land: east, south, west, and north. Each of his children struck fear into the hearts of anything that lived in these regions. They spared no one, showed no mercy, except in the north, where the peoples of Navask fought back. Ever since, to display his great sense of shame, he never did finish the north face. And the lands of Navask are a frozen, cursed wasteland.
It is said in some distant early worship of the ever-burning that the faces were meant to represent the times, the ages of the world past and to come. To the east, towards the rising sun, was the time of the first light, when light first crested upon this land and bathed it in warmth and love. And to the south was a time of middling, a time of growth, a time of change and warmth. To the west was a time of decline, a time of lessening. But to the north was the time of nothing, the time of the age of ending of all things. But it is said that that fourth face lives elsewhere and is hidden in the valley. Perhaps it is not the time of nothing, but a time of something else.
The troubadours know the story of this strange monument, or at least of its meaning. How it came to be is perhaps a tale for another time, but it is clear the three faces do not project but reflect. It towers above us and looks out at the celestial bodies which govern us. Rage for Ragar, mercy for Alsain, emptiness for the sun. And that fourth face is not missing. It is absent, for it is for us, those who live below, to choose what will come of the three. The troubadours chose joy and pleasure, smiling faces and joy and happiness and all of those wonderful things. It is up to each order to make their own choice.
It was once said that the four faces stood at the crossroads of four great empires. It was here their boundaries met. It was marked by the faces of the rulers sat high on their thrones in capitals gilded with gold. Anger, mercy, profound emptiness, and a fourth face that reflected joy, contentment. Anger, mercy, and emptiness did not like this representation, did not find it fair that the fourth should be considered a joyful ruler. In an act of vandalism, the fourth face was torn from the rest. And that was the beginning of the end. This small act of vandalism triggered the fathomless war. 4 empires of unprecedented might descended upon the joyful throne. None of them could claim it. They each turned on one another. The war never ended. It kept going and going and going. Some say that is how the Crucible was born. For only those that could endure suffering, find joy in suffering, could survive such a horrendous ordeal, could thrive in such a horrific environment. And by gods, the Crucible certainly did.
Ryanya, staring up at the 3 faces, says, "All of your stories are nonsense. This is a representation of an entity from the cosmos called Tristel, the 3-tailed comet. It has 3 faces because Tristel has 3 heads, and the directions that they're pointing have no meaning whatsoever. It's entirely incidental. But tell yourself whatever tales you must, I suppose." Ash. I think at some point, Scrutineer Caro will hand you off to Monastra. Monastra wearing her veils and walking alongside you, so tall. In her veils, she looks like a looming ghost hovering next to you. "How do you find our hospitality so far, friend of the Luminians?"
I find it curious. A bit odd.
Scrutineer Caro is a bit odd. You can be forgiven for thinking that. He is eccentric. I think that is the most generous way of putting it. "I'm going to take you now to my favorite place in the lodge." And indeed, she takes you to a sort of garden. Artificially grown heavenly bodies float high above beds of otherworldly flora, providing them with their own unique light and nourishment. There are walkways that only curve, never bending into straight lines. There's a greenhouse that seems not only removed from the rest of the lodge, but perhaps removed from this reality entirely. Let's paint the scene. As Ash walks the winding paths of the gardens with Monastra, What about these paths? What about the gardens? Recalls the beauty of the place you grew up in, or would if you were there.
The gardens, in their twisting nature, are home to corkscrew hazels. Now, corkscrew hazels are fascinating trees. They don't grow straight or in lines. There is no linearness to them. Corkscrew hazels literally twist up into the sky in these great corkscrew figurations. Even the drops, their seeds that they eventually leave are these brilliantly malignant things. And it is here in the gardens that they twist into the moonlit sky. It is here that they reach up with what looks like broken fingers, clutching up at the moon. These are Calyxe's favorite trees, for the Crucible grows them in abundance, for they teach the Crucible that it is not always the most straightforward path that leads to the answers that we seek, and that there is beauty in all nature. There always has been. And Calyxe loves these trees so very much, as broken and bent as she is.
The world under the Sun Queen was not a place of great beauty, and not a place of gardens. Everything desiccated and dry, but in quiet places under cover of night, people would come together and create great art, splashing color onto the walls of hidden, quiet, dark, cool basements, murals and paintings that told of the time to come when color and vibrancy would reign, and the smatterings of beautiful flowers in every color that one can imagine and a few that one could not. They would surely remind Theia of those times.
Through the spiraling trees and these splashes of color, the edges of the paths are clean and trimmed, carefully maintained. The flowers do not grow beyond the boundaries set by those who walk these paths. They are cultivated and carefully held in place, bound and restrained. There is beauty here, but it is controlled and maintained, and it will not leave, though it longs to.
There is in this garden a desert orchid which was ubiquitous where Fenwyn grew up, and they were frequented by these beautiful silver hummingbirds that would appear under moonlight and trace ribbons of mercury through the dark as they fed at the stamen, disappeared back into the night. People said they were a portent of riches, and you could never catch one. Fenwyn never did.
Ash, Minestra leaves you here to reflect, do as you wish. She tells you that if you decide you need to rest, that you may do so here in the illuminated gardens. But what do you do?
As he's left, not by his lonesome, but as far as Minestra's concerned, he is. Ash listens for the footfalls of the Legion. They do not trample the grasses and the flowers, but they move among them. 4 of them come towards him. Young squires, I have need of you once more. And he begins to draw out the length of the nameless banner. It has seen better days. It is dusted by the journeys, and its edges are frayed. Would that you tend this with care and give it back when you're done. You will rest then. And so he hands it over towards these spirits, who take it carefully, each of them holding it like cradling a fragile child. And they lay it out among the garden as Ash sits. I think Malin and Rowan are never far. And so he sits and he thinks, and Rowan's hand finds his and toys with it for a moment. Still, the pressure isn't enough, but he moves his hand to meet his. In the ashes, in the silence of my being, I think of the promise I made you. I still hope I can honor it. I still hope I can't fail you. And I don't know, I truly don't know, if the Hidden Throne will answer all of these questions. But I must believe. And to believe, I need a bit of clarity. And beyond the three that are tending to the banner, one more steps forward. And Ash looks up and he recognizes Pluck, his squire. Now, I could tell you of what your friends are doing, not the Luminians, the other ones. Or I could recite some of the oaths, or I could, and Ash says, Pluck. I wish Theia had met you. Perhaps you could have a Gitern fight. A song then. A song. Maybe. Maybe just something gentle. And Pluck begins to summon a Gitern out of the ether and begins to strum something very gentle and soft. A tale, a flare, a feast and fire, for we, the nameless, we do retire. A tale of old, of new and now, for we, the nameless, we hold to vows. We follow and find and do not rest, for we, the nameless. And Ash finishes, shall withstand the test. Well, if you will sing it, then what do you need me to sing it for? And Ash laughs. Thank you, Pluck. I'll take what I can get. And I would like to clear, as all of the nameless are doing these tasks.
Mhm.
I have 3 of them working on the banner.
Okay.
So I would like to unmark all of the things on the banner.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Pluck's little song, can I please gain clarity in my mind and clear addicted to white sap?
Sure, certainly.
Great! And now I have no more knights, except for the 2 that are always with me.
Well, and also, if you do your, what is your ritual, Ash?
It's called the Ash Ritual.
Oh, okay. Because you would also get the benefit, because that's just that's just the bonus stuff that your knights do, right? Don't you also get just like the regular
Yes.
benefits of the move, right?
Mhm.
So if you wanted to unmark something else, you certainly could. If you
Yes,
also get to define a clue too.
Define. Lovely. So much work.
So much to do. Yes.
Right. I would actually like to clear my vow plate. No vow sworn while wearing it can be broken.
Very good. Think on your clue. In the meantime, I have to ask you, this is a lovely scene in a seemingly safe, if strange, place. There is a weird greenhouse that may not be in this realm. What are you afraid is going to happen if you let your guard down?
I am afraid that with all of the knowledge that the Luminians transcend dimensions, that something from a different dimension has tailed them here.
Kind of feel like that. How is it worse than that? Oh my word. I think you will have to immediately engage with it, whatever it is. Go ahead and roll with Cinder, please.
That is 7.
Very good. Something will be following you, but your rest otherwise passes without incident. Let's engage with the move of the other group too. Have you all managed to share your stories or do your rituals to get the benefits of the move yet? If not, keep having the scene.
I think I was looking at Fenwyn clearing, but we met him while he was doing his ritual at the top of the tower, at the top of the 3 places.
Indeed. Yeah. So what are you going to take care of there?
I am going to clear one of my aspects. I'm going to clear an aspect on the Lion Guard cloth. The one that always draws attention from nearby foes or beasts, and I feel like me not realizing Calyxe was probably there first.
Good.
Feeds a little bit into that.
Very good. I like it.
Calyxe, using the story of Mantis, the female of the species being more deadly than the male, is trying to clear the strength of the birth of a mountain again.
Very good. Very good. Pleasant story from the past.
Mm.
Do you still need to share a story, or do your ritual, Theia?
I think Theia will leave Rhaenyra alone for a little bit, but first say, if she tries anything, do feel free to kill her. And then she'll kind of make her way over to Fenwyn and sit near him and say, you still wear the cloth over your eyes, shrouded watchman.
Not a sartorial flourish, I'm afraid. One that helps hide something I'm afraid to show.
I think Theia will reach out with, just place her hand on it, and she will pause for a second. She'll let him stop her, but if he doesn't, then she will pull it away from his eyes.
He doesn't stop you.
Oh, Fenwyn. The mists from that silent ocean have settled upon you. I am sorry your romantic cruise of Periwinkle ended so.
Unfortunately, Periwinkle ended. Not by my hand, but it may as well have been.
If it's of any comfort, the poor soul was already dying.
That's some comfort, but you didn't have to look into his eyes as he did. And that was the last thing I saw before this.
I know what it is to watch one you care for in their final moments, to have their last gasp taunt you with every exhale. But let us speak of nicer things. And I think she's going to root around in her pack and pull out Granny Lou's little kit of lotions and potions. And this, in a kind of more practical way, without that hesitancy or tenderness, she's just going to open a jar which has a pungent, overwhelming scent of rose, that last gasp of rose at the end of summer. And she's just going to start applying it around Fenwyn's eyes without hesitating for permission in the slightest. And as she does so, she kind of just prattles on about the delicious foods she used to enjoy in the court and how they always threw rose petals out ahead of them when they were bringing it forth. It was so delicious. Simple pleasures, of which there are so few here. I rather liked Periwinkle. He remembered those pleasures, much as it pained him.
Fenwyn feels the stinging in his eyes from this pungent tincture that's being massaged into his skull and says, "You're fortunate, minstrel. Your voice is so angelic. Your bedside manner leaves something to be desired, but I appreciate the touch."
Well, if you seek a gentler touch, I can ask Rayenia not to join in.
I think Fenwyn laughs at that.
She'll take the note, and she'll leave it be.
Let's speak of the two moons briefly. So between sessions, I had talked with you, Michelle, about how I thought that your storming off in anger from the lodge would push you one step closer toward Red Regar. I'm just saying it now so that it's recorded. So go ahead and do that if you haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
How does this scene end with Fenwyn?
I think, as I say, she takes his laughter as a sign of no thank you, and leaves him. But she might go find Rayenia.
Oh, interesting. Put another mark towards Red Regar.
Yeah, I probably should have seen that coming.
Could I have a very quick scene with Fenwyn?
If you must.
Calyxe will walk softly, but ensuring that the crunch underfoot is heard. It is sweet, you know, how you yearn for her.
Who do you speak of when you say her?
You know exactly who. I can smell it on you. As I smell something else. Sedenabre. You have seen him, sought him out. I will leave you with this, Fenwyn. The oracles of the Crux Druids are sacred things. And I will not, under any circumstance, allow you to interfere with them. Do you understand?
It's not my interference you should be worried about, Witch.
I'm not worried. This is merely a warning. I would like to rub the rotten rose that carries bloomrot over Fenwyn's eyes.
Do you allow this, Fenwyn?
Yeah.
Roll the light move. What are you afraid is going to happen right now, Fenwyn?
I'm afraid that some other sort of crux druid magic is going to work its way into my eyes, and I'm going to see the world differently when my sight does return.
This is going to be with, I'm going to say, I think this is a combination of the Serpent's Breath and the Kindly Old Man, actually. He who is unseen can still see. Every danger has a silent moment. I feel like that's that moment right before this happens. Go ahead and roll a cinder. Gloom blindness, I think, even also affects it to put you at disadvantage.
Still a 7.
I have to tell you how you're vulnerable. You can decide whether you want to allow this to happen or not. The way you're vulnerable is, I want to ask Jess. Jess, do you have any thoughts on what might happen here? It can't be the full, like, transforming Fenwyn's vision, because Fenwyn's still got a success.
No, but I think that forever burned into his retinas, instead of the blackness, maybe the mist that he sees. It's Periwinkle's face as the blade comes through his neck. That is the only thing he sees.
We'll represent this with a condition. If you can avoid this by just not allowing Calyxe to rub this stuff on your eyes.
I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to grab her hand, her wrist, with her fingers millimeters away from Fenwyn's eyes.
Penance. Stay away from the oracles, little mouse.
Before we get into this struggle, let's resolve these clues. So, what clue have we come up with for the Three Faces make camp?
So I had an idea that the story that Ryanya told about the Three Faces representing a comet might be something, because I remembered we painted that in the lab. I think it was Jess's. There was like some kind of 3-headed creature had been created. So I think something about 3 faces and 3 heads is important to the Luminions in their solution.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm kind of into that. Does anybody have any objections? Go ahead and editorialize that however you want in the character keeper. Wren, any thoughts on the clue that you find in the illuminated gardens?
I think there were these bugs that were on the inside of the walls of the gate.
The Hall of Gates.
Hall of Gates. And I think more of those bugs have trailed out into the illuminated gardens. And I think something about the patterning on the bugs matches to the star maps. So there's some kind of positioning and timing. Yeah, so there's like a particular positioning and timing. Scrutineer said they were short of time, but I think like there's a particular time that the ritual has to be done for it to work.
Interesting. Okay. Something to do with the stars. All right, I like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and note that in the character keeper. You will all split up and go your different ways. I think Ryanya actually stays at the Three Faces, unless you want her to come with you to the struggle, in which case she will.
No, I think We'll say a fond goodbye to Rel. Already have. Said a fond goodbye to Rhaenya and leave her there if she's happy there.
Indeed, she has her strength there, more than she has had. You travel for a time deeper into the forest, Theia, and we are now in the first movement of the struggle. A vast clearing yawns open before you, a held breath in the dense forest. At its center, a majestic tree, branches arcing outward like frozen lightning, the viridian canopy pierced by blades of sallow light. No birds sing here, no wind whispers. You hear only the slow croak of rope-rough vines hanging from the boughs. Beneath the tree's resinous perfume, something haunts the periphery, something musty, moldering, old. Underfoot, the clearing is pocked with broken spears and snapped banners. The forest floor a sea of bodies, submerged beneath the slow tide of moss and time. At the epicenter of all this death, a rusting suit of armor slumps against the tree, set apart from the corpses by a ringed no-man's land of verdant grass, perfect, untouched. Let's paint the scene, everyone. Though grass and lichen claim them, what great enemies among the decomposed trespassers hint at the lone knight's forgotten prowess?
Poking from the grass is a great mound. It almost looks like a tree has been uprooted. The earth is so big here. But it is only on closer inspection you realize it is not a mound of earth at all, but the body of a giant, its chest caved in, moss entangling the ribs, and its face you cannot see, for it is obscured by an old, cracked sun mask.
Another great mound on the opposite side. Another closer inspection revealing it to be a body of something huge, monumental in size, once when it stalked this land. The flesh decomposed from its head, revealing a skull with familiar-shaped tusks. Did old Gore have a brother once?
Among the mounds, there is an almost perfect circle of bodies. It appears as whatever this knight did, it cleaved their heads from them all at once. It makes a very odd fairy ring around them.
There is, wound around the space, a series of vertebrae that, if you were to look at first glance, you would think probably belong to several dozen different animals, but they all belong to the same creature, a mighty serpent. And its size has been slightly exaggerated by the amount of segments the knight had cut it into.
Against the tree's enormous bulk, the rust-mottled armor slouches, its surface a hagiography written in scars. From its left shoulder, a maroon, fungus-ridden half-cape hangs listlessly, its tattered hem brushing the grass beneath. The helmet, perhaps once feared, has burst open, revealing neither face nor skull, but an aggressive sun-orange bloom. Vines snake between the plates, coiled jealously through the joints. Beside it, a sword splits the earth, its blade as flat and wide as a tombstone. Let's paint the scene again. What deep scars reveal where death should have claimed the knight, but blind devotion refused to let him fall?
The great orange bloom is cleft in twain. It is unnatural. Unlike the ridges that the bloom takes on, it is precise, as if made by a man bringing a sword over his head and then bringing it down with great force upon the head of another. And yet, this knight still stands. His bloom is still vibrant. And they do say that 2 heads are better than 1.
Piercing the hands of the suit of armor are 2 enormous wooden nails made of rare wood, heartwood. But it seems they could not keep him attached to the tree that ought to have been his final resting place.
On his knees, where the knight should have been made to kneel. Perhaps when a leg was meant to have been cleaved from him. The fungus and the lichen has grown so thick, it has formed plates, it has replaced the kneecaps themselves and turned them into their own spiked weapons. This knight shall not kneel for anyone.
In a weak point on the knight's back, there is an axe dug deep. A sneak attack. A sucker punch. Whoever threw it, they're still hanging on. And the axe has 3 small sets of skeletal arms dangling from the haft.
Theia, as you approach, the vines creak taut. The armor clatters slowly from the ground, hanging like a marionette pulled to standing. Vines thwip down, wrapping around the sword hilt and tearing the enormous blade from the ground in a shower of reddened earth. In one fluid motion, the sword spins wide through the air, its deadly motion thrumming deep in your chest before the hilt snaps firmly into the gauntlet. A shroud of leaves falls around the armor as it draws to full height, a small welcome to an old friend returned. The armor lurches. One limb clinks, then slowly drags forward. The monolithic sword carves a deep furrow behind it, chinking on root and rock. A sudden tightening of a vine, and the knight's sword arm snaps forward, wrenching the massive blade upward, far too fast for something so heavy. The air distorts and a swarm of gold-brown leaves, their edges serrated, scythe towards you, buffeted on a wall of force. Theia, describe how you defend against the armor's assault, or how you attempt to, barely escaping the swing of the enormous blade, parrying blows that nearly cleave you in 2, never able to mount an effective counterattack, and then roll the dark move.
Theia thought she was here to fight a tree. She instinctively goes for her knife, but it realizes this little dagger is not going to do anything against a sword of this size. And as it's swinging down towards her, in a blind panic, she grabs the biggest thing on her person, which is her gittern, and swings it forward and attempts to bash this sword back with the wood of her instrument.
This is going to be the dark move. This is going to be the dark move made with vitality. What are you afraid is going to happen right now? Actually, no. Also, because of the physical melody, bodies are tools for music and worship. I think that applies here. Bodies are tools for music and worship. But in this case...
Music and worship is tool for the body.
Yeah. I know, I'm like, it's kind of inverted in a sense. I don't know, I think it works. I'm going to make you roll Cinder instead.
Okay.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
She's too panicked to consider her safety. I think she's afraid that she's going to lose this instrument. It's going to be destroyed.
Oh, it's worse than that. You and the instrument are cleaved in two. Please go ahead and roll.
Okay. With Cinder, which is -1.
I'll say, you have the option of abandoning this quest. You would have to take the condition, Faithless Ember, a permanent condition until you can prove yourself in battle.
I ignored him for 4 sessions. I definitely can't get this far and then leave. No, I gotta do it. Okay, no, 7, 8, 9. 8?
Very good. You grab your guitar, and your instrument is more than just an instrument for playing music. It is an artifact. It's a relic of legend, right? It has the power of the Wolf King flowing through it, which is why it is able to glance back the blade, like the blade hits it and the blade kind of goes wide. And then there's just a lot of you scrambling around, avoiding this marionette knight puppeted by vine strings, swinging this blade at you. I regret to inform you, however, that you land hard with your left foot in all this various twisted detritus and bodies and all these other things we've described, and you twist your ankle and go down on the ground. Take the condition twisted ankle. That will be a bit of a problem for the remainder of the struggle.
Okay.
You can stoke the fire to avoid this condition, of course.
Yeah, I think I will actually. I think I'll bump it up. Can I mark the Tinder arch?
You sure can.
Fire to come?
Yep.
Okay.
You got a 10+ instead, and you do everything as I've described it, unless you want to add anything to it, and you are still standing on your 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the second movement. As the fight wears on, the armor's motions become more human, no, more than human, mythic even. Its actions echoed with glowing reverence rather than verisimilitude. It wields the great blade with impossible grace, and the heavy plating dances clear of blows, leaping impossible distances with unerring finesse. Fresh vines stream down from the canopy, replacing those cut away, providing ever finer control. All the while, the sun-orange bloom hangs accusingly from the cracked helmet. Let's paint the scene. The tree is vast and ancient, but beneath its grandeur something festers. What dark stains or twisted growth betray both tainted soil and long-held grief?
I think off to one side there is a decapitated body, and it is relatively fresh against everything else. It's not quite as skeletal as some of the other things, but it lays in a black, tar-like pool of blood, but it's not from this body. Something else is bleeding into the earth, and if you look closer, that tar-like substance has awoken something, and small kind of microscopic tendrils are working their way into the nervous system of the exposed neck. And with every blow the night brings raining down, the fingers of this body just twitch.
There is a phenomenon in nature where the heart of a tree can die. The heartwood, the most central pillar, the most essential part of any tree, becomes infected. The heartwood of this tree has not just died, it has filled with water from the rains. And so, from higher up in the tree where this tar is not pooling, water runs like sap down the bark, like tears, ever flowing tears, streaming down towards the earth.
Beyond the water, there is a hollow to this tree. And as the night swings on these vines, as it moves through the forest, the wind whips through the hollow, and it is shrill. It sounds like a shriek, like a scream. Not one scream, but hundreds, as the voices of all its felled whip through it, into it, and out of it, into your ears.
Some species of lichen are pollution indicators. When they become saturated with the ills that humans put into the world, they change color. And the high branches of this tree are colonized by lichen, which almost glows with the brilliance of that sun-bright orange. What greater corruption could there be?
Theia, the armor performs moves no living knight could, impossible leaps, inhuman contortions, throwing the blade for it to return to its hands. Only the vines betray its true nature. Please describe how you attempt to disrupt the vines and roll the dark move.
So Theia thought that her dagger, the Wolf King's Coda, was not going to be useful here, but she sees the way that this marionette throws its blade and catches it back. And it gives her the spark of inspiration. She pulls the Wolf King's Coda out. She whips it through the air in an attempt to cut through the vines that are animating it. She thinks to herself of the song, the verse hidden within that blade. May the weapons you wield remain ever ready to strike at my foe when I call.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I think she's afraid she might cut these ropes and learn that they are not actually animating it and it can move just fine regardless.
Indeed, that feels like it might be an issue. Interesting. How is it worse than that? I think it's worse than that because I think the vines and the night will work in unison to rend you to pieces.
Okay.
You can, of course, turn back and become a faithless ember. That is an option. Otherwise, you're rolling with vitality.
No. It's in the song, Jason. Can I mark that aspect, the hidden verse of the knife, to give myself a better roll?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, get advantage. Yeah.
Okay, and it's vitality, you said?
Yes.
Oh, that's not good. Thanks, Alcine. Okay. Oh, haha! Yes, that's a 6. No, a 2 6s. 2 6s. That's 12.
I was like, why are you so excited about a 6?
No, it's 12.
Very good. Very good. I'll give you an option. Your bonus. Your 12 plus bonus. This battle is particularly enraging to the court of the Sun Queen, or this battle is particularly enraging to the conclave that's already quite pissed at Calyxe.
Juicy. Well, Calyxe did kind of cock block me earlier. I think it's gonna have to be the conclave.
Please go ahead and describe how the knife otherwise disrupts the vines.
It sings through the air in a single strike, cutting each vine in order before returning to Theia's outstretched hand as she stands as still and steady as she can find it within herself to be.
The third movement. The tree sheds all pretense. The armor stops moving like anything human. It separates and reforms, each section attacking independently from unexpected angles. The colossal sword spins of its own volition, hunting you in slow, implacable arcs as a storm of vines rains down from the branches. Theia, please describe the vulnerability you spy during the assault and how you try to capitalize on it, and roll the dark move.
Again? Okay. As it falls and reforms and is moving in these sort of separate pieces, Theia sees for a moment an opening, a route to get to the base of the tree itself. And she knows her instructions from her liege were to destroy the tree. And so she is going to attempt to just sprint forwards straight and get to the base of this tree.
What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
She's not fast enough. She's afraid she won't be fast enough, and she will be got by this knight and dispatched of before she could reach the tree.
I think that's as bad as it gets. Go ahead and, except for just, I suppose, they will be celebrating in whatever remains of the Sun Queen's court at this great victory against the enemy. Please go ahead and roll with vitality. You can, of course, turn back and become a faithless ember.
I will not. I'm not a coward either, unlike some people. Now see, that's not as good. So that is a 6. Just the one.
You run
Total.
forward. You run forward, trying to get to the root system, the heart of the root system, where the thing is most vulnerable. But then you just fall, and your face just smashes onto the ground because a vine has caught you by the ankle. And then the blade freed of its own, kind of moving on of its own volition, it is just spinning in place as the vines pull you toward this massive blade spinning in place, and you are bisected, torn apart, ripped in two. And the sun glows just a little bit brighter for the remainder of the day. Unless you're going to stoke the fire.
I will stoke the old fire.
Instead, you do manage to reach it. And we go to the fourth movement. The assault falters, the vines hesitate, the armor is exposed. Let's paint the scene, everyone. The armor is breaking, the vines sagging. For a moment, you see the knight, Gilvin Whitestag, in his full glory during the time of the old fire. What do we see that shows who the tree was to Gilvin, that he should devote his life and death to it?
The cresting sunlight shines through the branches. And there is a moment where Theia's eyes just narrow enough for those branches to jut up in an almost uniform fashion and form something of a crown. This was royalty. Or maybe a line. A bloodline. Something that he could not live his life without serving. Something royal.
I think we see Sir Gilvin standing vigil by this tree in times past. Perhaps that's what he was doing when he fell. But this place, this tree, is a shrine to a royal bloodline, a lineage of spectral stags that give his house its name, and this is sacred land.
That sunlight dappled through the leaves of this tree warp the image of this haunted armor, and for a moment it appears like a tall, brave knight, and he is so beautiful, with the light shining upon that golden hair and cutting his sharp jawline with the shadows. But it is an empty beauty, and he stood in empty vigil of a royalty whose promises were empty.
As Gilvin stands his vigil, he looks up towards these full branches. Though his stance is strong, and he knows he must be here, he reaches up towards the branches, as if waiting for them to reach down and embrace him, to thank him for his work and his efforts. He does not know it will take his death for them to reach back.
Theia, describe how you attempt to deliver the killing blow and roll the light move.
Theia stands at the base of this tree, and she pulls from a pocket or something, not one of her impressive and magical relics, but a match that she sparks against the bark itself. She holds it in front of her, and she says, "I know what it is to watch someone I cared for die. I know what it is to have their last gasps haunt my every exhale. And I know that you served the one who made it happen. You will burn like he did. He swore that one day he would rise again, but you will not." She drops the match and lets the tree ignite.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
That somehow, by taking so long to get here, by failing to complete this task, the things she thought to be true will not come to pass.
Roll with presence.
Nine.
I'm going to give you the condition marked by the court of the Sun Queen, but otherwise the tree goes up in flames. Calyxe. Oh, Calyxe. The magisterial order that serves the natural world is angered that you have not yet put a stop to the Howling Troubadour. you would allow such a thing to happen to this tree. Mark Stigma. You do get a reward, however, ironically, Theia. You get what are possibly the last of the white stag blossoms, delicate blooms from the tree sacred to Gilvin Whitestag. They symbolize mutual devotion.
How lovely.
How lovely. You can add that to your equipment. That concludes our session. Let's go to end of session. End of session questions. Ash, you did roll a cinder today, didn't you?
I did.
Did you act in accordance with your vows, even when it cost you something precious?
Did not cost me something precious, no.
Did you name another enemy, ally, or shade, and in doing so, alter their fate?
Did I? I don't think. I hadn't named them
You
yet.
hadn't named them yet. Yeah, you hadn't. Yeah. It's okay. You get 1 XP. Theia, the waxing tone. Did you? I don't think. I still think you marked. You did roll a cinder today.
I did. I finally did.
Yes, you did. Take your XP for that. You also get your XP for completing the quest.
Right.
Did you engage in ecstatic or orgiastic worship of the Wolf King with Wren? Yeah, I gather.
Mm-hmm.
And did you betray your own artistry for the sake of survival?
I did use my Gittern to fight a big man.
You did. That's
Yes.
right. You did. 4 XP. It's a good XP haul for you today.
Mhm.
Calyxe of the Verdant Crucible. Did you roll a cinder?
I did, yes.
Did you give cold comfort to the suffering? I think you were going to, right?
I think there was a moment with Fenwyn.
Yeah, you. Do you, Matt? Do you think that counted? Were you suffering? Did you feel comforted in a cold way?
One of those things is true. I was suffering, but there was very little comfort on offer.
I mean, that's what cold comfort is. So I think you should take the XP.
Oh, what do you say? Yes, I gave you a rose.
Did you give a wild-eyed monologue about how the land is speaking to you even now?
Yes, to the scaled pilgrim.
Fantastic. Take your 3 XP. Fenwyn, who moves like ink and water. Did you roll a cinder today?
Yeah, it's becoming a habit.
Did you? Did you fight an enemy when slipping past them was an option?
I didn't.
Did you deliver an embittered monologue about the dimning?
I think the old fire, probably is the closest I got.
Oh, yeah, I'll take it. It was in flashback. I think it's pretty good. I think who stoked the fire this session? Certainly Michelle did. Anybody else? Okay, note that for next time. And I think that just takes us to Stars and Wishes.
Hear me out. I think that the Land Remaining is a deceptively textured game, because like every session we do is just different. I should keep expecting to carry on with the momentum and the things that we were doing in the last session. They're there, but they're seeds, and something else grows from them. And I think that's magnificent. And it all comes from the game and you as players. And yeah, I just thought it was it just felt incredibly different tonight. Like, and not in a bad way, just in an interesting way, which is what you're aiming for, right? This is different in an interesting way. I loved my personal highlights of this session were, first of all, Pluck and Ash. Holy shit, that scene was beautiful. It's become a running theme that we like seeing Ash interact with the knights, but that was another side of it that was really touching and just beautifully performed off the top of Wren's dome as well. So fair play to that one. Loved it. Michelle, seeing Theia have to fight, and for it to start with kind of like I've come to fight a knight by mistake with my banjo or whatever, and then it ends with like that incredibly emotional, character driven resolution. And I think Jason said this about us when we played the Between. Jason said that like we're all interested in the emotion of violence when it happens, digging into things, finding meaning in those horrible moments, and I think that was a really powerful one that will linger long in the memory. This is a star for Jason and Jess. I found the branch torn knight really menacing. Really, really menacing. Like, I felt like he just had a huge presence in the scene, even though we didn't really get a lot of physical description about him. We just heard a voice, and I just felt it. And how Jess stood up to him was really interesting. And it was about her backing down from the challenge. It was great. The scene at the three faces was amazing, because once Calyxe appeared and started, like, you know, with the Crawford Davis thing with Theia, I was like, oh man, oh fuck, I'm in this scene. They're talking about me. Jesus. Like, I just completely lost it. I was just enjoying watching that play out. And then yeah, Jess, the idea that, like, we could be making camp in a safe space with no stakes, and then you come and just throw a light move in there, like, just making me do it just by, oh god, just, I love that unpredictability, which isn't like, oh, I'm just a chaos goblin, aren't I funny? Like, that is what would happen in that scene, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, really great session. Thanks, everyone.
I thoroughly love this game. It's my favorite show, as I've mentioned. Matt, I loved the conversation that you had with Sir Denebrae. Just the interaction there of Fenwyn still not being able to see, and all of Sir Denebrae's bluster, trying to hide the fact that he has no hands. It was so fun to watch that play out, and then Calyxe later on at the camp scene, knowing what you had done, the threat on your life, just how everything has consequence even between the players for what's been done is so fun to watch that and, like, build up. It's making such an interesting dynamic where Ash has no idea what's going on, but everyone is forming problems among themselves. It's just so funny to me. Michelle, I loved watching Theia and Ranya's interactions with the little village. Also, Jason, please stop. Noxiliax is doing too much. He's not even here. He's doing too much. But yes, just the interactions between, like, two wolf natured people and the differences of interpretations they can have, just like it just makes the world again just feel very rich and interesting, having conflicting information about things that we're making up, but that's fine. It's so good. I love it so much. And then Calyxe, the decision to turn your back on the branch torn knight because of this perceived connection that you have with Ash is just so interesting to me, and all of the fallout that's happening because of it, because of Calyxe turning away from the ways that she knows and should be, for reasons perhaps still somewhat unclear to her, though she seems to gain some clarity speaking to the Scale-Blessed Pilgrim today. Just it's so fun and interesting, and I love Calyxe. She's still so scary to me, but I love her so much. Yeah, no, Jason, your NPCs are great. I am glad to be free of scrutiny at Cairo. Thank you.
So it's hard to know where to start. I'll start with maybe my favorite bit of the whole session, and that was our description of Ash going through the garden. I loved Theia's description of, like, when color and vibrancy would reign as a sentence. That hits differently. Ash's description of bound and restrained, beauty controlled and maintained. And then the desert orchid moment from Fenwyn. And it just felt so rooted in each character, and so through their eyes, and so through that perspective. every scene we're building, everything we're putting out to the table, I feel like I know exactly more about these characters, exactly who they are, exactly their mindsets. It's beautiful to watch, and the descriptions are fantastic. Theia for Michelle, there was a moment that really caught me, and it was seeing Theia fraught when the moon turned green. And you'd gone from just very confident calling Rainier, oh, my lamb, which I thought a lovely touch. And then to immediately be like, oh no, this is really fucking bad, was on a dime. But of course, it's the elements closest to Theia's sort of personality and connection to the entire lands remaining that's done. Of course, that's how she would react. But it's the first time we've seen her fraught. And it, again, gave her even more depth. And that then came out again when you were doing the struggle with Gildan the Vine-Twined and you threw the Gitten at him. And it all makes sense to the character. Theia has such a backbone. You know who Theia is, and even though she wanes between red and blue, like I'm very excited to see what path she chooses. There's so much to her. Ash.
Speaking of which, before I forget, please move your marker one step closer to red.
Yay!
For burning the tree down.
Ash, the scene with Pluck, the previous descriptions of Pluck, and having her as a squire, and bringing it back. There is, and again, what was it? A Tale of Flare, a Feast of Fire. Having all of that come off the top. I bow down. Again, I could watch Ash interact with the knights until the cows come home. I think there is such a vibrancy to that story and that backstory. And like I said last time, I don't want you to fudge rolls, but I do want you to have to stoke more old fires so that we see more of Ash's backstory in relation to that. It's such a good character. And Fenwyn, thank you for indulging the little PvP. We've had so many different games with the Carve from Brindlewood system. I don't think we've ever really done a player-on-player like tete-a-tete. So this was the first opportunity I wanted to test it. And the way that Fenwyn has been navigating the world up until now with the Bloomrock blindness, with the way that he's been describing everything up to this point, and being able just to be like, yeah, no, I take the condition, I keep going, pushing further and further into the horror. It made the story so rich. The description of it all was so good. It's part like I was waiting and listening, and I almost forgot to speak sometimes because what comes out of your mouth is always just, it's lovely to listen to. I could also watch you and Theia, just the Theia and Fenwyn show. It's all here. It's got it all. It's absolutely fantastic. Jason, the way you rolled your R's for the what was his name? Scrutineer
Caro.
Scrutineer. It's Scrutineer. I want to say Serrator, but that's not it. For Scrutineer Kairos. The sense of character and the sense of self that each of the NPCs embody. It's second to none. It's just really second to none. Yeah, an absolutely incredible session. Really, 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 really happy.
I cannot roll my R's, and I've never truly mourned it until I heard you voicing the Scrutineer, Jason. I think we listen. It has been known that you're an excellent writer, but I do think you're a really terrific GM, and it's just such a delight that we really do throw so much wild shit at you, and you're never phased, or if you are, it doesn't show. You're always just happy to go with whatever we're coming up with, and I just think that's a really joyous thing. That you don't hold this world tightly, but are excited to share it with us. It's a wonderful thing. It's a joy. Like, you can legit be like, I'm gonna go screw that alien, and you're like, okay, yeah, that checks out. There's really nothing that will slow you down, and I love that very much. So
Marky Red Moon.
Yeah, Marky Red Moon. There, she's at it again. Wren, my favorite show is Ash and his friends. Ash and his friends, who we meet, and sometimes they sing a song. If you're anything like me, you do not look at everyone else's faces when you're singing on camera. But if you were, you would see this. Just me, like, kicking my feet. So delighted. It was really lovely and beautiful. I can't believe he did that off the dome. But also, I just really love, I think that, like, it would be easy. Like, if I was to play the Nameless, I could see myself being like, oh, it's a bunch of knights and they have names. But, like, every single one of them, you give them something unique. They're all people in your world. All of that legion means something to Ash, and you, through your performance and how you tell us about them, they mean something to us. Even though many of them only appear for a moment, and I just love it. But I'm glad Pluck's sticking around, because I like Pluck a lot. I want to hang out with Pluck more. Jess, I really love how hateable Calyxe is. That, like, it was just the scene where we were chatting and she appears at the camp, and then we just fell silent for what felt like 10 minutes. And, like, on the inside, I was just gleeful, as much as I was trying to act like I wasn't pleased to see you, because I was like, yes, this is so good. This is not what Theia wants to deal with. It's not what Fenwyn wants to deal with. Renya's probably not sure what's happening, but it doesn't seem good. But Calyxe is just here to cause problems. I'm not even sure how much she realizes it, but she sure is. Genuine glee at her gleeful disruption of everyone else's good time. It's wonderful to interact with. I'm glad we crossed paths again. It's been a minute since they and Calyxe were in a scene together, and it's really fun. And Matt, I just really like Fenwyn's whole, like, Daredevil vibe that's going on. I really like how you're carrying through this idea of guilt, survivor's guilt, maybe. We don't quite know the story yet here. Certainly with Periwinkle, it's there. These kind of semi-religious concepts of penance and kind of paying back for your sins are a really interesting thing to explore through a character who kind of has, I suppose, some, like, monk-like aspects, but not an overt religiosity that we've seen. I really like how you're bringing that exploration in through Fenwyn's character, even as a character who doesn't say a lot. When he does, we see that shining through in everything. You're always very considered in your choices when Fenwyn speaks, and that's really lovely to play off of as a character who just yaps, and to, like, see how that interplay exposes more of both characters. So yeah, I'm also always delighted when we get to share a scene, because I think it's an interesting dynamic that's super fun to play out.
It was a great session. The highlight scene for me, out of many that were great, was probably the Sir Denebray and Fenwyn scene. I really just loved role-playing that. Matt had kind of teed it up for me a little bit on Discord before we played, and with the idea of, like, Sir Denebray's pride doesn't want him to, like, reveal that he's strung up to a tree. So I kind of ran with that, and that was great fun. It was just a really, really good scene, and I felt so sorry for Sir Denebray, and kind of his circumstance, and he got his own back a little bit. The world is kind of quietly conspiring against Calyxe, which I think is fun. I also really quite enjoyed the scene, the two kind of, like, NPC Calyxe scenes I had, the one with the Scale Blessed Pilgrim and the other with the Branch Torn Knight. That was really terrific. Just very impactful and fun to play, and to watch you react, Jess, was really, really good. Jess, you do this thing, or not Jess, Michelle, you do this thing where in your dialogue, or, like, in your, like, descriptions, you, like, embed the lore of the world or like references to the past, you like embed it sometimes in a single word, like a blink and you'll miss it kind of like thing, you know? And every time I catch a little like thing you put in there, I always feel so smart. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like how smart I am. Like, you know, but also you're very smart the way you do it. It's so subtle. It's like so subtle, but like I think it makes for like really like I don't know, like it makes for interesting, like if I was a viewer, I would be like really excited to like be like to see how you're kind of incorporating things into the various prompts you have to answer and things. So I really love that. Also, I really just love how you acquitted yourself in the fight with Gilvin the Vine Twined. I thought that was really fantastic. Everyone did a fantastic job with paint the scenes and stuff today. That was all really wonderful. And yeah, I'll echo what everyone's been saying, Wren, about the way you play the Nameless Legion. You really do make it feel like there's this big group of people there, right? Like there's this big group of people and they're there and they all have their own like little roles and wants and needs, and Ash is just right there in the middle of it, and it was just really, really great fun. And of course, I love the little impromptu song. That was great. Just a lot of fun, really interesting PvP session as well today. That was really intriguing to me. Yeah, I'm just so excited. I am once again thinking we're gonna probably finish the Whitewood next time. I feel like we're getting close. So I'm excited to see that big conclusion, and I'm excited to tear into the Umberslade too. I hope we are able to get into that pretty soon. So I think that's all I got.
Fun fact: the person who wrote the Vine Twine Night pitched it before I pitched Old Gore. And I remember just listening to that, and I was going, "Oh man,
I actually don't remember who wrote it. I just grabbed the draft from Basecamp. I was idle here. I was like, who wrote this?
It's so good though. Like
it's really good. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, star for them. It's a great struggle. It's so I kind of made it a little comic with the spinning blade vine thing, but I also knew that you were gonna old fire out of it, so I wasn't like too worried about that. But no, it was otherwise this very like kind of like emotional and kind of it's very action packed. It's an action packed struggle, which is interesting as well. So we've gotten two very, very different struggles in the last 2 days in terms of like aesthetic and vibe. Like so it's a many textured game, as you've noted.
I love the way that just imagining like someone like Fenwyn, who's a competent fighter, doing that struggle would have been so different, even amongst the same prompts. It's like a fascinating thing about the struggles that I love.
Yeah, it is indeed, and it's so cool. I have to say I'm just like so excited that like this game got off the ground from nothing in just a few months, and like it's already does this, you know. So it's just really exciting. So star for everybody who's helped out with it and supported it and everything. So